Joining me now is another one of our national security experts, Colonel Rob Maness. He has his own broadcast right here at worldviewtube.com each and every day, 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern. And that would be, what time? That would be noon California time. All right. Venezuela. Listen to what the press secretary said today about troops and Venezuela.
And there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at the possibility of boots on the ground there?
What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
Venezuela.
All right, so there you go. So they're going to put these 4,000, what are they, Marines, Colonel? Were they going to put them on a ship somewhere off the coast of Venezuela?
Yeah, it's called the Amphibious Readiness Group, an ARG. USS Iwo Jima, I think, is part of the task force for the Amphib Group, and it's got the Marine Expeditionary Unit. I think it's 22nd Marine Expeditionary. So what we use when we need to do business.
All right, so he's not saying, she's not saying, neither one of them, president or press secretary, saying, oh, no boots on the ground. They said the opposite. We're going to do whatever we have to do. We're done with Maduro letting drugs flow into the U.S. Apparently, they think he's the head of a drug cartel.
That's what she said. There wasn't any thinking about it. She confirmed it. They say that he is the head of the drug cartel. He's been indicted. They've named those groups that they're sending into the United States that are trafficking this fentanyl as narco-terrorist organizations and international terrorist organizations. And this is an appropriate use of American power in the Western Hemisphere. Look, we in the MAGA community have been calling for an end to the killing of 100,000 Americans by fentanyl every year. And this is part of it. We're sending the Navy down there with this amphibious group. So they're going to patrol the seas. I would hope that they'll interdict any transportation of drugs and narco-terrorists coming out of Venezuela or any other country. Interdict that and put an end to it.
Here's another clip by her. Here you go.
What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
There you go. I think there's a bounty of $50 million on his head, right?
I think so. Yeah.
You want to round up some former special forces and oversee them, and we can go in and get, because we could use that $50 million. I bet you and I could use it. You could use it for whatever you want. We could use it to expand worldview tube.
We certainly could. Certainly could. I think the Marines might be going to beat us to it, though.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right. So do you think that's just flexing out there? Or do you think our own government is working in country now to have him either arrested, assassinated, removed, and we're going to do regime change in Venezuela?
Well, this president put our adversaries on notice that in the Western Hemisphere, the United States is going to reassert its national security priorities and establish a stronger defense of the Western Hemisphere and align ourselves with what do we call it? The Monroe Doctrine, which says if you're from another part of the world and you bring your government forces in here to try to control this area, we're going to oppose you. And that's what we're doing. And I'm glad that he's doing it, because the only way to get to this narco trafficking and the 100,000 deaths of Americans every year is to go after it. I was advocating for, and I'm pleased to know that his administration has designated some of these cartels as international terrorist organizations so that we can use military force against them if necessary. But at a minimum, it's there and intended to deter them and get them to cease operations out of Maduro's country and others.
Well, a few years ago, we had a clip by then, I think, CIA Director Pompeo saying that China was in Venezuela, Iran was in Venezuela, Hezbollah was in Venezuela. How much of this has to do with that? And then we had rumors flying around that Iran was flying a flight from Tehran into Caracas, Venezuela, northern Venezuela, about 1,264 miles as a crow flies to Miami. And that Iran was flying in a flight all the time there. And if you wanted to try to get a ticket on board, you could book it months in advance. You're not getting one, meaning it was a government plane. Now, who were they flying in there and what were they doing? Some, I could never find confirmation. Some were speculating they were setting up missiles in northern Venezuela. I don't know. I wonder what this administration knows, what they're concerned about, if they're concerned about more than just drugs.
Yeah, we've known for a long time the Iranians have been cooperating militarily with the Venezuelans that do joint exercises in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, and those kind of things. They've flown their planes in there, obviously. And you're probably right. It's government aircraft that are going in there. Their Navy has home ported out of Venezuela when they were operating in this area. So now they're really small. But that doesn't mean that they're not effective. As you could see, I mean, they killed thousands of Americans through their Iraqi proxies in the Iraq War, and they're right next door. But they have a capability of intelligence and terrorism and a small military capability that could be useful to Caracas and Maduro.
Let's talk about this here. Over at worldviewtube.com. Breaking. U.S. military raid in Syria eliminates ISIS leader in waiting. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, forces conducted a targeted raid in northern Syria, eliminating a senior ISIS member identified as a potential successor to the group's leadership, along with a key financial official, as reported by Fox News. An article we have at worldviewtube.com tonight. What are your thoughts on this?
Good to see that we're still going to take out these kind of people. But the government of Syria is led by a former founder of al-Nusra, which was Al-Qaeda, and has been affiliated with the ISIS groups in Syria before. And we've installed him and are protecting him. So, you know, I get it. I think it's a good thing that we continue to remove these people from planet Earth. Because of the situation that they put the world in, especially since 9/11. But we've got to get focused and make sure that we're focusing on all of our Islamist enemies, because we know the Iranians have pushed people into the United States. It's just a matter of time. We know Al-Qaeda is training still in Afghanistan under the tutelage and the protection of the Taliban. We know it for a fact. We know that Al-Qaeda is trying to make sure it stays aligned with al-Jilani in Syria. And we know that al-Qaeda has operatives inside the United States. And we also know that they want to conduct an operation on the homeland that's bigger than 9/11. Those are the things that we know. And the American people are lulled into a false sense of security because we're establishing these relations with guys like al-Jilani in Syria and those kind of things. And we've left Afghanistan, so people tend to forget it. But the Taliban have taken over. They're using millions of taxpayer dollars. Hopefully the Trump administration has shut that craziness off. But the al-Qaeda camps are back in action. The training camps are back in action in Afghanistan. So al-Qaeda is still a threat. It's going to continue to be a threat. And the threat is real. And we need to get focused on that.
What do you make of this headline tonight? Tulsi Gabbard acts as nearly half of spy agency staff in earthquake deep state shakeup. She put out a memo, and it will save taxpayers over $700 million per year. But of course, the concern is, hopefully, she fired the bad guys, not the good guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're going after the resistors. That's what I call them, the resistors that are Biden holdovers. But it's worse than that, Brandon. The problem inside the United States government, especially on our defense, our intelligence, our foreign policy institutions, that environment has been being used since at least the Obama days to hire individuals into the career civil service that are not loyal to the Constitution and the American people. They're loyal to an ideology, and it's the Democrat ideology that has become more and more radical as the decades have gone by. And it's so radical. I've got an article coming out in AMAC tomorrow, taking on the radical generals, as some other people have been writing about this week, because the New York Times keeps running articles defending people like Doug Sims, who's the director of operations on the Joint Staff right now, U.S. Army, that the deputy of the task force set up by the Secretary of Defense and appointed by the President of the United States, the civilian deputy of the task force to review the Afghanistan withdrawal debacle, ordered Doug Sims to provide all the records and evidence needed to review that operation, and he refused to do it. And he told him, what did he tell him? I'm not going to do it because you don't have a Democrat on your task force.
Oh, wow.
That is the kind of general that should scare the you-know-what out of every single American.
Oh, yeah.
The United States of America does not tolerate elite military officer culture like that.
Well, it's getting so bad with the Democrats. Studies show Democrats losing registration rates in all 30 states that track party affiliation. 4.5 million voters swing toward the GOP. So I'm reading articles saying that the GOP's in big trouble. They're collapsing. It's horrible. Then I read polls like this. What do you think, Colonel?
Oh, I thought you were going to show a video. I'm sorry about that. Look, I think that's great. But if it's coming out of the New York Times, we should be questioning it. Why are they putting this poll out? What's their objective? Because the New York Times is not a press outlet. It's a propaganda outlet.
Oh, right.
And it's a propaganda outlet for the progressives in this country, the Marxists, the communists like Mondami, who's the Democrat nominee for mayor in New York City, the financial capital of the world with 8.2 million people. So we should be questioning that. But that's where they should be in my mind. So, even though I'm questioning it, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see the New York Times was forced to put it out if they've been forced to put it out. But look at where the popularity of Congress is and the popularity of Republicans in Congress is right now. And you'll see that it's worse than it's ever been for both parties, really. But we've got 2026 coming up. And if we don't hold the Congress, then this president is not completely dead in the water, because he's one of the smartest people that's ever held that office. He'll still get stuff done, but it won't be done in a way that could be permanent.
That's exactly right.
And not be overturned by the stroke of a pen.
Let's move overseas. What are your thoughts on the IDF calling up 60,000 reservists? I guess they're looking at a 6-month assault on Gaza City. I think President Trump's saying, come on, finish this thing up. But he's also saying, you got to do what you got to do. 6-month assault, 60,000 reservists. We had our reporter on the ground, Aaron Navarco, on radio/TV today at 1 o'clock Central, 2 Eastern. What are your thoughts on this, Colonel?
Israel cannot exist as long as Hamas exists. Hamas has got to be treated like Nazi Germany. And if any other players want to ally with them, they've got to be treated like the Axis powers of Nazi Germany. They have to be eradicated completely from the face of the earth and to never, ever hold power again, even if there's one of them left. And the only way to do that is there's two ways. One, Hamas unconditionally surrenders, puts the white flag up, walks out, gives their arms up, and leaves the area, turns himself in to the IDF, or the IDF and Israel has to go in and completely remove them house by house if necessary. And unfortunately, that's what it takes in this type of built-up area. It's the most built-up area in ground and air and naval combat operations in the history of mankind.
And yet,
in such a concentrated area.
We're seeing polls that show that a certain percentage of Americans, actually what they're saying is most Americans, believe that Israel's response in Gaza was excessive. Others are saying they want to see a Palestinian state recognized. Here's the problem, I say. If you were to ask the average American in this poll, who is Hamas? Tell me about their charter. Who started Hamas? They won't know the answers to any of these questions.
No, they wouldn't even, most of them probably wouldn't even know what October 7th, 2023 was.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, but I think I'm right about it.
Too.
It's my opinion.
I agree with you.
And that's the bad part, is the attention span of the American people is that of the size of a gnat sometimes, especially when it comes to foreign policy. And quite frankly, this is Israel's business that they need to take care of. I've said it all along, either unconditional surrender or completely go in, eradicate them, occupy it, and then turn the ground back over to a peace-loving people. If there are any that are there. Look, 90-something% of Palestinians in Gaza supported October 7th. Many of them, the civilians that participated in that were civilians.
Yep,
they weren't all Hamas
and
people.
They took the hostages to the homes of civilians.
Yeah, there were UNWRA employees participating in October 7th, and people calling themselves press participating in October 7th. That kind of ideology cannot be allowed to exist by Israel. If it were that happened in the United States, we would fight them until they were ground to dust under our tank treads and never to exist again.
And yet, I'll close with this one. Look at this from my friend Daniel Greenfield. Representative Rashida Tlaib and Muslim terrorists traded for October 7th hostages to appear at the same event. Can you believe this? Is this news to you? Did you read this today, or are you?
Yeah. Why is this administration's Secretary of State's office? And I think Marco Rubio is doing a fantastic job. He may be the best Secretary of State we've ever had in this country. But why is there an office approving that guy to set foot on American soil? He is a danger to me and my family by his very existence on American soil. There is no telling who he'll be coordinating with or what he's going to be doing, and he shouldn't be allowed in this country. But we've allowed it, and now we have a congresswoman who's, she's Palestinian heritage, and like many on the left, as we've seen, and some on the right too, they say, well, I'm a Palestinian, I got to take care of Palestine, or whatever it's called. And that's not what their job is. Their job is to take care of the United States of America. And it's not in our interest to be aligned with the PLO or PIJ or Hamas or any of those organizations that use terror to try to change their politics of their adversaries.
Indeed. And I'll remind everybody that these articles are over at worldviewreport.com, worldviewreport.com, your daily aggregated news site, worldviewreport.com. The Colonel, his website is it is actually just robmanus.com, robmanus.com, and he's on each and every day, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, right here at Worldview Tube, and you'll find his show as well at robmanus.com. Colonel, as always, thank you for all your great insights and information.
Thank you, Brandon.
Colonel Rob Manus checking in tonight, guys. robmanus.com. We'll be right back after this break. Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now, and we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archived vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview.